There's a book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. First and foremost, I would like to say, Kala Yah Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakudash, the ones to the apostles and elders of Great Muslim, Ruel. Peace, blessings, salutations to the whole select, all you brothers out there pushing the word in truth and sincerity. Shalom, tell you brothers, stay strong, pushing, who's quick listening. I want to speak about the missiles because here it is, you might have certain articles where it comes out that these Edomites, they want to get rid of these missiles. Or America might tell, which is Babylon the Great, might tell another country, another nation, only we can build these missiles, but you can't. You know, pretty much being a hypocrite. You know, we pretty much Babylon the Great. You know, the motto for Babylon the Great is, you know, it's either our way or the highway. Okay, you either do what we tell you to do, or you're gonna suffer the consequences, right? But anyways, the reason I say this is because this is not a prophecy. This is not biblical, because it's not a part of the scriptures where Esau is going to get rid of these missiles. These missiles are here to stay. As a matter of fact, these missiles were created by the Most High himself. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and get that scripture real quick. There's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 25. The Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, okay? For this is the work of the Lord, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. And another way of saying America, okay, the land of the Chaldeans, of course, Babylon the Great, so on and so forth. So this is talking about America. And this is the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay, he's the one that really put the spirit on Esau. He gave him the knowledge to create these missiles for his purpose. Okay, this is his work, the work of the Lord. And it says once again, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. So what are the weapons of his indignation? Is these ICBM missiles. All right, these are his weapons of indignation. And why are they called the weapons of his indignation? Is because this is how he's going to judge America. This is how he's going to show the whole world that this is what you're not supposed to be. Okay, be a wicked kingdom. So America was created also to, Babylon the Great was created to be an example. Just like Sodom and all these kingdoms that were created, they were created for the Most High to set, as an example of one not to be, be a wicked kingdom. Where there was the Egyptian kingdom, the Greek, the Roman Empire, so on and so forth, the Babylonian Empire, all these different empires that were created, they were created for examples. And America is no different. Okay, Babylon the Great is no different than the rest of them ancient civilizations that the Most High judged. Okay, by by whatever means he did it by. Okay, but it says the article says U.S. needs to choose between new ICBMs and nightmare of nuclear deterrence or meaningful disarmament through arms control. It says the U.S. wants Russia and China to rein in their respective strategic nuclear arsenals while it modernizes its own nuclear defenses at the same time. So here it is. This proves the hypocrisy of these Edomites, man. Because here it is, they're telling everybody else, look, you can't have these ICBM missiles. You got to get rid of them. You got to destroy them. Whatever you got to do, you got to get rid of them. Okay, by any means necessary. But in the other hand, America, which is Babylon the Great, they want to keep theirs. They want to keep their defense, nuclear capabilities intact. They don't want to get rid of them. Everybody else has to get rid of them but them. And why are these devils trying to do it? Is because they want the whole power. They want to control everything. Okay, they don't want anybody else to have the same power that they got. And that's what you see right now. America's losing its power because even the smaller nations are gaining nuclear capabilities. At one point, they never had no nuclear weaponry, but now you have goddamn who is it, Pakistan? Now you have a country like Pakistan that has nuclear capabilities. I believe Turkey as well, if I'm not mistaken. You have Turkey, I believe Syria. So you have even the small nations, man, that once never had no type of shit. I believe Venezuela too, if I'm not mistaken. That never had no type of power like that, nuclear power. Now they have it. So now America's like, oh shit, we got to do something about it. And the way they try to go about it is they try to pass wicked laws, legislation that only benefits themselves. It's like fuck everybody else. We're only thinking about ourselves. We come first. That's the whole model. That's the whole mindset of America. And it says, continuing on reading, it says, when it comes to strategic nukes, the U.S. can't have its cake and eat it too. Exactly. Okay, because here it is, they're telling everybody else what to do with their nuclear weapons, but then when somebody tells them, oh, well, hey, you got to do the same shit. If we get rid of ours, you got to get rid of yours. And what does Babylon the Great say? What does Esau say? Absolutely not. They're like, hell no, we're going to keep ours. But we want you to get rid of yours. And then they start threatening. They start threatening, look, if you don't get rid of them, we're gonna declare war. We're gonna hit you with tariffs. That's one thing these devils always do, man. They always hit these other countries with tariffs, which a tariff is a tax. Okay, they tax your goods. And then when it also, America also threatens these other countries without making no business with them. We're not going to trade with you. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that with you. You're pretty much going to be on your own. So this is what Esau and Babylon the Great, which is America, this is what they resort to. Threatening, and then after the threatening stops, then they go and attack you. They start dropping bombs on you. Look at all these nations that even to this day, even as I'm making this lesson, look at all these nations that are being bombed right now. Civilians are being killed. They're being destroyed by these devils because they're dropping bombs on them, man. And they don't give a fuck who they kill. Children, women, elderly people that have nothing to do with no terroristic group, Taliban or shit like that. They're straight up and down just dropping bombs on cities that have nothing to do with war or anything like that, with threatening America. But that's the devil for you. That's what Esau does all the time. But anyways, going back to the missile situation, these missiles ain't going nowhere, man. Okay, these missiles are here to stay because these missiles are part of prophecy. Okay, like I just read in Jeremiah 50, these are his weapons. These are the weapons of Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. Okay, this is what the Lord is going to use to destroy Babylon the Great, which is America. Okay, so these missiles, they're part of prophecy. But going back to, what was it, Revelation chapter 9? Okay, there's the book of Revelation chapter 9 verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. So this is John the Revelator, who was given the visions, who was given the dreams by Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. He actually saw the destruction of America. He actually saw the missiles being shot towards America, Babylon the Great. He saw all of this, man. Okay, so he actually saw the missiles. He actually saw how many it was. It was 200,000, meaning 200 million missiles, ICBM missiles, nuclear missiles, were shot towards Babylon the Great, which is America. So you could only imagine the sheer destruction that these missiles were doing in John the Revelator's vision, man. A bunch of carnage and destruction. Okay, so verse 17, it says, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire. Oh, when it says the number of the army of the horsemen, that's, you see, people think that's talking about people. It's not talking about people. It's actually talking about those nuclear missiles, those ICBM missiles. Okay, but anyways, going to 17, and thus I saw the horses, which once again, these horses that's talking about these nuclear missiles. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Exactly, because every ICBM missiles, every ICBM missile has nuclear warheads in multiple nuclear warheads in one missile. So you could carry possibly 8 nuclear warheads in one in one in one of those missiles. Okay, it says, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. Now those heads of lions, those are talking about the nuclear warheads, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. That's talking about those nuclear warheads once again. Because what happens is that missiles being shot into space, and then the nuclear warheads, they break off from the whole missile, and then they hit their intended target. Okay, so there's in one missile you could have multiple nuclear warheads, man. So you could imagine the 200 million missiles that John the Revelator saw, but then inside those missiles was the nuclear warheads, which are the ones that actually do the destruction. So it says, and out of their mouths issue fire and smoke and brimstone. It says, by these three was a third part of men killed by the fire and by smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. So it's telling you that the America, Babylon the Great, is going to be destroyed with fire. Okay, with smoke, brimstone. As a matter of fact, let me get the book of Isaiah chapter 9. There's the book of Isaiah chapter 9 verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Exactly. So every time you see ancient movies, right, where the people are going to war, they're going to battle, you see, back in the day, of course, they never had no type of missiles or things of that nature. It was mostly hand-to-hand combat. You had swords or spears, whatever kind you had, and your opponents, your rivals, had the same thing. So what would happen is you would meet up in a field, and then you pretty much, you would charge against your enemy, and you would start fighting with the sword. Like it says right here, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolling blood. Exactly. So, it was a bunch of screaming and yelling and kicking and stabbing and slicing. Okay, but then it says this, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Exactly. So this is what these missiles are intended for, is to fuel pretty much the fuel of fire. The burning of America, Babylon the Great. So this World War III, which will happen, which is spoken of in the scriptures as well, is part of prophecy. This World War III is going to be with the nuclear missiles, man. Okay, but let me go back to going back to Revelation chapter 9 verse 18. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For the powers in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents and had heads. Once again, those heads, that's talking about those the nuclear warheads. And with them they do hurt. So those nuclear warheads are really the ones that cause the damage. Those are the ones that really bring the destruction. And when it says for their powers in their mouth and in their tails, of course, what comes out of the mouth of the missile, from the head of the missile, the top of the missile, is those nuclear warheads. So that's part of the power. And in their tails, that's talking about those thrusters that send the missile up into space. For their tails were like unto serpents. Okay, and this Salakia. This image shows what the power of the tail right here. You see the image of this ICBM missile being shot, and you see they look like serpent. It looks like a huge serpent. Because back in the ancient times, when a prophet would receive a vision or a dream or whatever you want to call it, they would actually compare the things that they saw, because they would see future events, right? So, for example, John the Revelator, he saw the nuclear missiles hitting America, setting off the mushroom cloud and things of that nature. He also saw different, tanks and warplanes, jets and things of that nature. So what they would do, they would compare those things that they saw in their visions from the future. They would compare them to things that they had during that time, during their present time. Okay, so what John the Revelator did in this case, he would compare, you know, the missile. You see how it's streaking up to space, right? He saw that in his vision, and he compared it to a serpent. Okay, because of course he's not gonna say, oh, they had a thruster and it was, um, it had nuclear war. You're not gonna have that. It's pretty much gonna be almost like code. That's why people can't understand it. That's why when it says about the horsemen, they actually think it's actual horsemen, but no, it's talking about those ICBM missiles. Okay, but let me see if there's a little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me see if I finish the scripture. Okay, once again, Revelation chapter 9, verse 19. For their powers in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like gun serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. So, look, these missiles, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be used. All of these missiles that have been created for 40, 50 plus years, they're going to be used. They're not going to have them on the shelf looking pretty for people to come visit. Oh, here we have a ICBM missile. We got rid of most of them, but we have some of them just to show them on display. No, that there ain't gonna be no fucking display for no missiles, man. Them things are gonna be used. Okay, but anyways, with that, I'm gonna call y'all Bashim Yawshai, Bashim Kakudash. Till next time, y'all Bashim Yawshai, Shalom.